Hello everyone, hope you are doing well. My name is Chinmaya and this is part 2 of the two-part tutorial on Google Forms. In this part, I will demonstrate how you can use Google Forms to create an online quiz and administer it. So let's start. There are a few different ways in which you can create a quiz in Google Forms. The most straightforward way is to go inside the folder in Google Drive, right click, then choose Google Forms, and then choose blank quiz. So when you click on this, a blank quiz form starts, and you can start by giving a title to your quiz. And as I had mentioned in the previous part 1 tutorial, you need to come here and click on this box such that your form is saved with this name. So once you've given a title and a name to this form, you can then just simply go ahead and start typing your questions. And the first question is already here. We just need to type the text for the question. Most quizzes are just simply multiple choice questions, so you don't need to worry too much about this if you are creating a standard quiz. So we can just quickly come here and type in our questions and then provide options. So I'm just typing in some options here. One of these options obviously has to be the correct answer. So let's just keep typing a few choices. And once you have typed in all your choices, your question is complete. It's a multiple choice question. Now what you need to do is to come down here and provide an answer key to this question. So come down here and click on this. The first thing we will do is to give the number of points that will be awarded to the participant or student if they choose the correct option. So for this question, I will give them 2 points if they answer this question correctly. The second thing that we need to do is to provide the correct answer. So in this particular case, the question, the term sustainable development was first defined by which of the following reports? The correct answer is this. So I'll have to come and check this answer. And if I don't want to do anything else, I am done. I can just come here and click on this. So I have set points for this question and I have provided the correct answer. And with this, Google Forms can automatically grade this question because it has all the information it needs for grading this question. If I don't want to do anything else, I can just simply press this button done here, and my first question has already been created. Optionally, I can provide some additional feedback to the students or participants. So if I click on this link, there are 2 options. You can show something if somebody has answered this incorrectly. So you can just come here and provide them with some kind of feedback for all the people who have answered this question incorrectly. And you can lead them to some link. So say, for example, if you wanted to include a link which they can study, so you can just come here and include a link. You can also include a video that they can watch. So you can come here and search for an appropriate video, or if you had a video that you have already selected and you have copied the URL of that particular video, you can paste that URL and then just simply come here and press select. So for all the students or participants who have given incorrect answers, you are providing feedback. You are telling them to refer to the following resources for further reading, and they can understand this topic after reading these resources. You can also provide a feedback to correct answers. So you can just come here and enter something like a congratulatory message, and if you so desire, you can then again refer students who have correctly answered this question also to the links that we have provided for the incorrect answers. It's just completely dependent upon you. This is totally optional. So just press the save button and we are now complete with this particular question. We have given some kind of feedback to correct and incorrect answers. Just go ahead and press done. So once you have done this, we have already entered the first question. If the second question is similar to the first question, you can just come here and duplicate it. So if it's saving you time, you can duplicate this question. I'm going to go ahead and put in another question here and then put in some options for Kansas. And I'm just simply typing some options for this question which students can choose. And then I'm going to repeat this process once again. I'm going to come here and click on answer key and then put in the total number of points that I wish to award to students who have answered this question correctly. And then I'm going to come here and click on the correct answer. I can optionally provide some feedback. If not, then I can just come down here and press done. So that is my second question. And then I can just keep going on. Mostly quizzes are just multiple type questions. So this is a standard quiz that you can create very quickly. And this quiz can be graded automatically by Google Forms. Let me just show you a few other things here. You are providing 4 choices for answers here. You can click on these 3 dots and you can then shuffle the option order. So if you click on this shuffle option order, when students will open this form for answering the quiz, they will see this in different order. All of them are not going to see this in exact same order. So this is one of the things that you can do. So we have 2 questions here. The second thing that we can do is to head to settings, and then we can come down to presentation. In part 1, I had mentioned that we can put in a custom confirmation message. So you can come to edit and just type in a confirmation message and then save it. The second thing you can do here inside this presentation section is that you can come here and click on this shuffle question order. So when you do this, the questions presented to the students will not appear in this sequence. Different students will see them differently. So the first question is on sustainable development, and the second question is on the meaning of the term Gaia. Because we have gone to settings and we have in the presentation section switched on shuffle question order, if we can go ahead and click on preview, you will see that the first question is sustainable development and the second question is Gaia. If we come back again, do this a couple of times, you will now see that the order in which the questions are appearing has changed. So Gaia on this quiz is question number 1 and the sustainable development question is question number 2. So different students will see questions in different orders. They will be the exact same questions, but all of them will not see the questions in the same sequence. And this is helpful in preventing cheating because sometimes students might say, what is the answer to question number 1? But then question number 1 is not the same for every student. So let me just close this and go back here. So you can shuffle questions by switching this on. Let me just show you a few other things here. So you can limit every student to provide only one single response by coming to the responses section, which is just above the presentation section, and clicking on limit to one response. If we go to the top of this section, we will see that there is a default choice for release of grades because all questions are multiple choice questions and you have provided all grading information. The moment the student will submit the quiz, they will immediately be able to see their grades because this is set to release grades immediately after each submission. If on the other hand we had a few descriptive questions about which I'll talk a little later, and if you were to come and change this to later after manual review, students will not see their grades immediately after they press the submit button. You will then have an opportunity to go through individual quiz responses and give your grading on descriptive questions and then release the grade at a later date. So these are two options for release grades. In this particular case, because all the questions are multiple choice questions, we will go with the default, which is release the grades immediately after each submission. So this is one way of creating a quiz. Just type in the question, provide solutions, go to the answer key, set the number of points, provide the correct answer. If you so desire, provide feedback for correct and incorrect answers, press the done button, repeat it, say for example 10 times, you have a 20 marks quiz. Out here you will see what are the total points for this quiz. As you keep increasing questions, these points will keep changing. Before we administer this quiz, we can come to the response section and then connect this to a spreadsheet, as I had mentioned in part 1 of this tutorial. And now all the responses will be recorded in the spreadsheet also. When you want to administer this quiz, you can keep this switched off and you can send a link to all your students just before the quiz by email. Let us assume all of them are sitting on their computers, and at the designated time you can just simply come here and click on this. So the quiz will become visible to them. If it is not showing on their browser windows, you can ask them to refresh the browser window, and after a set period of time, let us say if this quiz were for 5 minutes, I would have my stopwatch, and exactly after 5 minutes I can just simply come here and close this. So this is one way of administering the quiz. Currently, Google Forms does not have an automatic way of closing the quiz after a certain period of time. The only way is to add third-party plugins or add-ons. And if you were wanting to do this, you can click here and then you can try to search for some add-ons from here which can kind of schedule forms. The problem with many of these add-ons is that you have to give them extensive permissions, and that may not be something that many people are comfortable with. The second way in which you can create a quiz is to just right-click in this white space inside the Google Drive folder, come to Google Forms, and click on blank quiz. So you started a quiz, but there are no questions inside the quiz. Unlike the previous case where we were typing questions, we can actually import questions from quizzes that we have created before. So you can just click on this button here, import questions, and then you can choose from quizzes that you have created before. So they should be visible here itself, like quiz 1 is visible here, quiz 2. So I can just come here and click on this and then just simply select. So all the questions in that quiz will become visible. You can either choose all of them or you can choose a few of them. And say, for example, I want to bring in this particular question. So I can choose this question and bring it inside. So it comes complete with answer keys, any feedbacks that you have already entered. So you can create a quiz by importing questions from other quizzes. So if I can just go back here and this time around choose a second quiz, say for example quiz 2, and I can pick up all the questions from this quiz or select the ones that I want to pick up. import these two questions inside. So I now have 3 questions in my quiz, or 1 that I have taken from quiz 1 and 2 that I have taken from quiz 2. So you can create a quiz by importing questions from multiple quizzes that you have created before. The third way of creating a quiz is that you can create a simple form, which means basically that when you created this form, instead of going to Google Forms and choosing blank quiz, you chose blank form and then you created this form. This is just a simple form. If you click on it, you will not find any answer key options here. So you have created a form, you have put in your questions, you have provided possible options, multiple choice, and so on and so forth. But this was not started as a quiz, it was just started as a form. So you can go to settings and then just simply switch this on, make this a quiz. So this is actually a form in which we have put in questions and possible choices that people can make, but currently there is no grading information here because it's not a quiz. You can convert such a form where you have questions and answers into a quiz by going to settings and then just simply switching this on. So the moment you do this, your form becomes a quiz. When you return back to your questions section, you will find that now there is an answer key, and you can then come here and put in the correct answer and provide feedback as before. And then when you click done, this question is complete, and then you can keep moving to the next questions. So you can convert an existing form if, suppose, for example, you had not started with a quiz and you had a form where you had questions and answers. You can always come back and convert that form into a quiz by just simply coming here and clicking on this particular button. So this is the third way in which you can create a quiz, that is by converting a form into a quiz. So I just want to show that multiple choice questions are not the only questions that you can actually use. You can also choose checkboxes. Multiple choice questions permit you to provide only one correct answer. So if you choose this and then come back and choose this, the previous choice will be erased. Checkbox questions permit you to choose multiple correct answers. So these are a little bit more difficult to solve for this student. So in this particular case, I have created a question here. It says, which of the following are correct in reference to the term net zero? And I have provided a few options here. 3 of these options are actually correct. So when a student or a participant attempts this question, they will have to make more than one choices for ensuring that they are able to answer this question correctly. Let me just come here and click on the answer key and provide the correct answers. So I will be giving 2 points per correct answer. So that is a total of 6 points. So let me just come here and enter 6 points, and then I'm going to go ahead and click on the correct answers. So this is one correct answer and the second correct answer and then the third correct answer. So 2 points per correct answer, so making it a total of 6 points. Again, I can provide some kind of feedback. So once I come here and click on done, when I go to preview and try to see how this question looks like on the quiz form, you will see that a student can make multiple choices. So they can come here and choose this and this and this or this and so on and so forth. The checkbox answer type permits you to make more than one choices, and this increases the level of difficulty for the student in terms of making sure that they are able to answer this question correctly. I can just close this and come back. So how are these questions graded? For example, if somebody answered 2 correct and 1 wrong, that is, they did not choose this, would they be getting 4 points or would they be getting 0 points? Because they answered 2 correctly, one expectation could be that they should be awarded marks for the correct answers that they have given. So they should be getting 4 points. Unfortunately, if you are framing a question like this using checkboxes, Google Forms just simply gives 0 marks unless and until all the 3 correct choices have been made by the student. So it is all or nothing kind of grading if you are formatting your question like this. If, however, you wanted to award the students for the partially correct answers that they have given, you will have to implement a workaround, and you can do that using a multiple choice grid question. So the options that you had provided in the checkbox question, all these options will have to come as rows here, and in the columns you can define correct and incorrect. So I have covered multiple choice grid questions in the previous part 1 video. So you can have a look at that video if you are not able to understand the format of this question. But then very simply, all the options that you had given in the previous checkbox question, they can come here, and in the columns you can type in correct and incorrect. Then you can go ahead and click on this and provide the correct answers. So you'll have to provide answers to all the questions, correct as well as incorrect, and mention what kind of points you want to give for a choice that has been made. So in this particular case, this is incorrect, and I would like to give them 0 points for this. You cannot enter a negative number here, so you cannot penalize students for an incorrect answer. The best you can do is to just give them no points for, say for example, this is a correct answer, so I'm going to come here and give them 2 points for this correct answer. This is also a correct answer, so I'm going to award them 2 points here. And this is an incorrect answer, so I'm going to give them 0 points here. This is a correct answer, so I'm going to give them 2 points here. So once I am done, I can just come here and click. Notice that because this is a slightly complicated question, there is no feedback option available here. So for all correct and incorrect choices, I've chosen my points, and then I can just come here and click on done. Now when I go and have a look at this in the preview, just to see how this question actually appears, you will see that the question is now presented as a grid, and you can mention here in the description that they will have to make a choice in every row. We can enforce this by coming here and clicking require a response in each row. When we go to preview and have a look at this question, the question will be presented to the students in this format, and the students will have to come here and make a choice for every single row. So when they press the submit button, if they have answered 1 out of the 3 correctly, they will get 2 points. If they have answered 2 correctly, they will get 4 points. And if they have answered all 3 correctly, they will get 6 points. So you can implement partial grading in a multiple choice question using this mechanism, using a multiple choice grid. We can also include a video question. So the answer to this question will be a multiple choice question. It just says, with reference to the video above, video 1, the Securities Exchange Commission is contemplating companies to provide, you're giving 4 options. It is a multiple choice question. So your intention is to first show a video and then ask students to respond to 1 or more than 1 following questions. So you can include a video by just selecting the question below which you want the video to appear, and then just come here and click on this video, add video button, and then you can search for an appropriate video. So if this was the video that I wanted my students to watch, I can just come here and select this video, and the students can have a look at this video. So in this box, you can provide a little bit of text here. giving them some context. And just following this video, you can put in your question. You can come here and say that with reference to the above video, video 1, such that there is no confusion. If there were more than one videos, you could make sure that you are referring to the video on which you are asking a question. With reference to the above video on ESG, the Security Exchange Commission is contemplating companies to provide. You have given your options, and students can watch a video and then respond to this particular question. What you can also do is to include pictures. So you can ask students to have a look at the picture and then answer. In this particular case, you can do this quite easily by clicking on this icon here. If you click on this, it would be added in a separate space, just like we added the video. You can also add a picture. But if you click on this icon here, it will be added right inside. And when you click on this, you can drag and increase or decrease the size of this image. And if you look at these three dots and click on them, you will find you can align the image as you want. You can even change the image, or otherwise you can remove it or add a caption. So you are trying to help your students picturize this question. So this question can entirely be based on the image. For example, this could be a circuit diagram, and you could ask your students to find a fault in the given circuit diagram, or a flow chart or something like that. Or otherwise, it can just simply provide helpful illustration to this particular question. This is a short answer type of question. So what you are seeing is water from the households that has urine and fecal matter mixed in it, as shown in the picture below, is called, and you are asking students to enter one word without spaces in the space provided below. So students are expected to come here and type in their answer one single word, and in the answer key, however, you will have to provide all kinds of choices that students can possibly make. This is a case sensitive question in Google Forms, so you will have to come here and say this is black water. Somebody can type black water like this. Somebody can type black water like this, and it would still be correct. Somebody can write all of this in small case. Somebody can write this in small case as a single word. So you'll have to provide all possible correct options here, and then you can come here and check on this box and say mark all other answers as incorrect. So you can add a lot of variations to this particular question, trying to foresee what students can possibly type. It is case sensitive, so unless and until you provide an answer in the different case, for example, this and this is exactly the same, but it would not be treated by Google Forms as the same unless and until it has been explicitly provided here. So you can put in a short answer type question. If we go to preview and try to see how this question manifests itself, this is the video question that we had entered before. It will look like this. You have the video, and then people can go and answer the question following the video, so they can have a look at the video. And this question that we have just now created, students will have to come here and type in a word. As it says, enter one word without spaces in the space below. So they can just simply type in their word, and they will be graded based upon their response and the list of options that you have given. You have to be very careful with this kind of a question, because many times you are not able to foresee how a student has written or answered a question, and you may have to resolve grading issues later on if you are using this particular question. So these are some of the questions that you can use in Google Forms to create quizzes. So let us go ahead and see how this quiz will be administered to a student. Before we do that, we can come to responses, and we can click on this. As I had mentioned in the previous part 1, that you can collect all your responses inside a spreadsheet. You can just come here and click on create, However, if you forget to do this, you can recreate a spreadsheet later on as well. So let's just do this for the time being. And the quiz is now connected to a spreadsheet. Every response that will be given will be recorded inside this spreadsheet, as I had explained in part 1. So let's just go ahead and have a look at how the student is going to see this, or the participant is going to see this. Click on preview. Let us start answering this. So the first question, and then in this particular case, I watch the video, and then after watching the video, I can come and answer this question. I can answer these questions here, and then maybe go ahead and answer some of these questions, and then finally put in my answer to this particular question. So once I'm done, I can come here and click on submit. Because we had chosen to release the grades immediately and all questions were multiple choice questions, grading information was already available. Students can instantly see their score. So they can just come here and click on this button, and they will immediately see the number of points that they have been awarded, 11 out of 18 in this case. And they can also see which questions have been correctly answered. And in this case, I have answered this question incorrectly. The correct answer was climate change disclosures. If I had provided some feedback for incorrect answers, that would also appear here. When I'm coming down, I can see that I've answered my multiple choice questions correctly. If I had missed on any one of these, I would have got 0 marks here. In this case, I have answered only one correctly, so I have been awarded 2 points. And it's also showing me the correct answers for the questions that I missed. And then finally, my answer to this question, the pictorial question, was correct. So all in all, I have received 11 out of 18. This is my final score. So this is how I can actually immediately release grades, because all questions can be graded automatically. They are all multiple choice questions, and grading information, point information has already been provided. And so instantly after the quiz has been submitted, students can view their grades. Let's look at an alternate scenario. Let us say, for example, I also want to include a descriptive question. So I can select my last question and then add a new question to ensure that the question comes right at the end. I can of course drag it and place it anywhere else that I want. And in this particular case, let me choose paragraph question and then enter my question. So I've entered my question here, and this is a paragraph style question. I can come here and click on answer key, and there is no real correct answer that I can provide here. All I can do is to just simply come here and give the total number of points. So this question cannot be graded automatically because it is a descriptive type of question. If we come here and click on preview and now answer this quiz, some of these questions are multiple questions as we have done before. Now in this particular case, I have to provide a descriptive answer. Now because this quiz cannot be graded automatically, we will have to go to settings and make sure that we have turned this on. Instead of immediately releasing the grade after submission, we will have to come here to settings and just simply choose this, which basically says that we will not be immediately releasing the grade upon submission, and we will be releasing the grade after manual review. So this setting needs to be on if your quiz has descriptive questions, because descriptive questions cannot be automatically graded. So let's head back and see how this quiz will be presented to the students. So I have answered these questions as before, and when I come to my last question, I have this answer that I have to provide. So I will have to type in my answer here, And let us say, for example, I have typed in my answer. So this is a descriptive question worth 5 points. We have already made sure that in the settings, the grades will not be immediately released. So when the student submits this quiz, they will see this custom message. It will be worthwhile to tell the students in this custom message that they will be receiving their grades later on and they should keep checking their emails. You can also suggest a likely date when the quiz results will be declared. So they will be able to see these grades only when they are released by the instructor. Now, if we come back here, you will see that on the instructor side, they can click on responses and they are seeing responses here. So they can go to individual and they can choose what response they want to pick. So they can come and click on an individual response. Usually they can just keep going one after the other. If there were 15 responses, this would read 1 to 15, and they can just keep clicking here and keep moving forward individually. They have to come and click on individual and then just start seeing the answers to each question. And you will see that the ones that could have been graded have already been graded automatically. So this question has not been attempted by the first student, so I'm going to give them 0 out of 5. It is very important that you save. So you can just come here and click save, and your marks are now saved. You can now move on to the second student, read their answer, and this student has done really well. They have answered this question almost correctly. I have everything that I wanted to see here. I will come down again and save. This is very important once again. So just click on this save, otherwise your changes will get lost. So you can keep going like this. Once you are done, you can then press this release score button. So when you click on this button, it will say that do you want to release it to specific students or all respondents. If we were to choose all respondents, we can then just come here and click send emails and release. So at the moment we do this, grades will be released and students will receive a message in their inbox, and they can then go ahead and see how they have performed. Let us try to see what a student is going to see. They will see a message like this. They will see that the scores have been released for the sustainability quiz. They can come and click on this and they will see this screen. The screen is showing them that they have received 12 out of 23, and they can then just click on this button and see how they have fared, and they can also see what grading has been awarded in their descriptive question. So this is how scores can be released if you have descriptive questions. So if you click on this button here, the spreadsheet button, you can come and see all the responses have been recorded inside the spreadsheet with email addresses of each respondent. If you, for some reason, if you forgot to do this at the time of administering the quiz, let us say if we can unlink this form with this quiz, and you conducted a quiz, and when you press this button, you found that you forgot to create a new spreadsheet before you started the quiz. There's no issue. You can still create that sheet post facto. We have received 2 responses. We can come here and then create a new spreadsheet. You can just press create. So because these responses are automatically recorded by Google Forms, it can create this spreadsheet even after the responses have been recorded. That is post facto, after the event has happened. And you can download this as Excel or PDF or whatever else. Download option is also available directly from here. You can click on these 3 dots and you can download the spreadsheet on your computer. So there is one additional feature that we can invoke for long answer type questions. And notice here that I mentioned that my expectation is that the answer should be around 200 words. But if somebody chose to write 400 or 500 words, there is nothing to prevent them entering extra words. So what we can do is, if we were really serious about limiting the answers to a certain word limit, we can come here to these three dots and click on response validation. I have covered response validation in part 1 also. So just click on response validation and you have a few options here. You can type in an expression or you can choose length. In this case, I'm going to choose length. Then I'm going to come here and say maximum character count, and then I have to provide a number. So this expectation is in words, whereas what is being checked is character. So if you include spaces, and if you were to think that an average word would comprise of 5 characters, you can come here and say type 1000 characters. So that becomes your maximum number of character limit, which is roughly around 200 words. If you want to be a little generous, you can increase this number by a little bit. And you can provide a custom error message. So if somebody breaches this rule, they will be shown this custom message. So I've just entered a small error message. Now let's just go ahead and see how this appears to the student when they are appearing for the quiz. So after I've typed in my answer, there is no problem. There's been no error message. But let us see what happens if I try to enter a few more lines of text. So when I do that, I have exceeded the 1000 character or 200 word limit, and I receive an error message that says, please stick to the prescribed word limit of 200 words. So it will not let me submit this form unless and until I do away with a few lines or a few words. Let me just try to shave off a few things. And just removing a few words from my answer brings it back within the word limit. So using response validation, I can limit people to a certain word length, and the answers for me in terms of correction become quite manageable. I don't have to go through reams of text. I can hard enforce the word limit on students. If suppose you don't mind the maximum number of words, but you do expect people to write at least 200 words, then you can just come here and choose minimum character count. And then this will ensure that people definitely type 200 words and there's no upper limit to your answer. So as the case may be, you can enter a response validation for long answer text and limit the amount of words that people can enter in the descriptive text answer. So this is how you can create quizzes in Google Forms. Online quizzes need not always be administered remotely. They can also be administered in a proctored mode, that is under supervision or with invigilation. Students can be asked to come to a central hall or room with their laptops, and then you can open the quiz. This way you can monitor class activity during the quiz. If you can make challenging questions, in-person proctored quizzes are a workable idea that can save you considerable grading time. I hope these two videos on Google Forms were interesting and useful. Thanks a lot for watching.